Jon Jones will be done fighting in 2025. That, I guess, was a hot take by me. Is that a hot take to you guys? Do any of you believe that Jon will fight more than Tom? Now, the spot that Jon's in, and he's only in this kind of a spot, just in case you think, well, that's not a lot of options. Well, no, you don't have a lot of options when you're the champion. You have less options. You have less ability and freedom. Used to drive Israel Adesanya crazy. Israel Adesanya genuinely had guys that he wanted to fight, but he couldn't because he was world champion. So then they just had this free reign to say whatever they wanted and come after him. And he used to hate that. He would tell Dana, you're punishing me. You're punishing me, not letting me beat that dude's ass who deserves to have his ass beat. Like, it was a very funny thing. It was very funny. Jon Jones he's in that same spot. Okay, his choices are fight Tom or don't fight. That's all. And Jon isn't campaigning or lobbying for anything else. Jon fully understands it's fight Tom or don't fight. But Jon is making friends, at least publicly, with the idea of don't fight. So, if he does fight Tom, I'm completely confident he's going to fight Tom. This is not even a maybe, but I'm just sharing so we can have a conversation. If he does fight Tom, do you envision a scenario where he fights again? And you always have a change in motivation when you have a change of outcome. We've had a number of fighters. More fighters fit this qualification than don't, as a matter of fact. A number of fighters that were going to stop, they were going to retire, they were going to be done, that lost. And years went by. That's 10 and 11 fights. You're going to be retired, no more, and you go into another dozen. Because they lost. It completely changed the motivation. It completely changed the way that they looked at it. It completely changed it where they were trying to protect and trying to hold on to something, as opposed to just go out and compete. So, if Jon is to lose to Tom, there is that strong likelihood, based on how the match goes, but that Jon might want a rematch. I mean, this just happened with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury drops a match to tough dude with the weird voice, the Ukrainian. And he wanted a rematch, boy. He wanted right back in there. Sean Strickland had this happen to him. Sean Strickland couldn't care less about being champion. He didn't even overly care about being in the UFC. He had reached his goals and he had lived his best life. He really thought that was real. Until they took that belt off him in a manner that he thought was unfair. And boy, Sean Strickland, he's behaving like a man that's been whipped. There's nothing you could do to motivate him more. A guy that really didn't overly care. And that was sincere. That wasn't an act. So if Jon Jones was to get beat by Tom, could we expect, right? And there's got to be a way that you get beat. We got to have a level of competitiveness. But, and I don't know how possible that is, by the way. If Jon Jones is going to lose to Tom, he's going to have to get knocked out. Or are you believing that skill for skill and move for move, that Tom is genuinely a better fighter than Jon Jones? Do you believe that? And then what about when they do take to fighting? When it's no longer a sport, which comes around 2 to 3 minutes into the second round. You are no longer in a sport. You are now in the tough guy business. Am I a tougher guy than him? And that largely has to do with your cardiovascular VO2 max, a DNA that you were born with. what substances you were able to get in your ass and get out of the system before you took the piss test. In all fairness, this is what that comes down to. It's not your ability to endure pain. The tougher guy is the guy that can go harder longer. There is no other litmus test for that. And the guy that can go harder longer is the one in the better physical shape. Is that a younger, cleaner, better life British interim champion? I don't know. Those sure sound like things that would help get you there, but this is Jon Jones, who defies logic, who defies reason. You cannot, as a young man, look and study and emulate and copy Jon Jones with an expectation to then become the best in your craft, the best in your field, or the best in the world. You can't do it. He is a one-off. If you copy him, you will not make it to the UFC. I'm going to stop you right there. Forget about being the best of a generation. Forget about being the best of an era. Forget about being the best in the world for a time period. You won't make it to the UFC. He's that unique, truly. So, as we start to examine that, right, for Jon to fight a second time, it's got to be against Tom. Jon isn't going to fight Tom and then fight somebody else. It's going to be Tom. Here's your hat. What's your hurry? It's been real. Or it's going to be Tom followed by Tom, but that would have to be in a very competitive fight. And I don't know how interested Jon is in that. So I'm going to come back to my original belief that Jon will be retired in 2025 by the time we get to this point in the year, that Jon is going to do one fight, that that's going to be against Tom, that it's going to be his last fight. Now, those things can change, but the current landscape has to change. There is nobody drumming up any kind of interest at all in a fight with Jon. Nobody. And Jon's not going to just come back and fight just because. Those days are long over. So it's hard to imagine a scenario. I think it's equally as difficult to imagine a level of success where you can be king of the world. Your hardest work is in your rear view and that you walk away. But Jon has had the level of success where he's already walked away. When he took his 3-year hiatus, he was the champion of the world. He gave the belt back. Don't forget that detail. So it's not as though Jon want to walk. Very unique situation, very unique guy. Beyond a unique career. But I'm going to stick with the prediction. Win or lose against Tom. I think it's just Tom and, well, I think it's just Tom.